Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now, your host, Ace.
The likelihood of um, Josh Allen and the Bills having a big offensive game is lowered because of the fact that this is in Denver with that defense, and so because of that, the lean here is you give points. 'Cause I think if this was in Buffalo,
And they're playing on a
I think
shorter week.
yeah, I think if this was in Buffalo, it would be Buffalo minus 4 or 5, maybe more than that.
Oh, I
So I
got you.
think you're giving them that you're putting them -1, +1
Yeah.
is respecting the fact that like in this weather, in this situation, the defense is likely to come out, perform, and play, and this game stays close enough for Denver to take it away. Because this is probably most people believe this is Buffalo's the better team.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if they actually were, then what separates them is 2 games. But like, it's not like the AFC West was like light this year. The
Yeah.
Chargers were good. Kansas City was just not very. But I hear you on that. Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace and Malik this week with y'all. Back
What's
again.
going on, man?
It's the
Happy divisional. It's not wild card weekend anymore. Happy divisional weekend, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, divisional round, divisional
Yeah.
playoffs. A lot of people say this is the best because you get the 8 best teams playing each other. Four good games, 2 each day. And my
Um.
Bears survived another week.
Well, I mean, I guess the 6 games last week were actually pretty entertaining for the most part.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I think I said this earlier,
Mm.
going into the playoffs is I think all of the games are going to be pretty good because I think all of the teams are, you know, there's no juggernaut in the field. There's no one team where you expect to come out and dominate one week or another. The one team
Yeah.
that you believed would dominate damn near lost. The one team that, not you, us, we picked the Panthers because we took the points. But Vegas and pretty much everybody else had Rams -10,
That's
and that
insane.
game was damn close, right? And they damn near lost it. So,
You know what
that's
it
what I'm
is
saying.
about
Like
them
it's
playing the
just
Panthers? Yeah, sorry.
no, I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. Like it's such a it's such an even playing field right now that it's tough to like really say, you know, these two teams entering the fray, the Broncos on the AFC side and the Seahawks on the NFC side, are any better than the teams that lost in the Wild Card weekend.
Yeah.
Are much better.
Yeah. I mean, giving them that many points on a home team, even though they have a losing record, these teams played each other, so we saw how it might go. And the only difference in this one is the Rams improved because they had the ball last and they were able to come from behind. But Bryce Young played really well. The team overall played well. Their defense just could not close it out, but they held Puka Nacua to one of his worst games all year. So I got to give Carolina some credit. Like I figured that they would cover. I just didn't think it would be this close. But
Didn't he
um,
have 2 touchdowns,
who
Nakua? Puka?
don't think so. I think it was one apiece for him and Adams, but I might be wrong.
Uh,
I believe he had under 100 yards, but maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
remember there was that like spectacular catch at the end of the game, but that wasn't him. That was the tight end. I thought he had 2 touchdowns in the game.
And you said it was going to be close if yeah, Puka Nacua had 10 catches for 1 touchdown, but they threw to him 18 times. Parkinson, Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams, yeah, he ran for 50, but they didn't really give him that many attempts rushing. He only had 13. But yeah, Nacua had 111 yards. Considering that they threw to him 18 times, he could have had 230. So,
That's true. That's true.
no. So it could have been worse.
So,
Higbee was the one that caught the game winner,
yeah.
which perfectly defended, but he's 6'6", so that's kind of why you have a 6'6", Everybody said it on all the shows. It's kind of unguardable unless you have a 6'7", unless you got Brian out there playing defense. And that ain't happening.
Those guys aren't fast enough. You know, you probably. I think
The heart
probably
attack.
one day you might be able to find a 6'7"
Yeah.
hybrid linebacker. That kid that how I don't know how tall that kid is
Get
in
Jameson
Seattle.
Crowder.
No, in Seattle, the kid in Seattle, the safety in
Oh,
Seattle, the rookie. Uh,
I have no idea who you're talking about, but if
Something like
he's
that.
6'6", then yeah, I know who I'm picking.
Let me see. Let me see. Nick Emenwari. I knew he was tall.
I think he's probably like 6'4".
Hey, he's 6'3". He's 6'3".
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I remember reading that he was tall because I remember he had that huge
Yeah.
draft day showing last year. So cool, cool. Well, uh, you want to talk? You want to talk before we get into the games? You want to talk John Harbaugh or Mike
Not really.
Tomlin or
I think Tomlin's going to go to Fox and just make that money. He's going to replace Jimmy Johnson. It seems kind of obvious, and that seems to be the one network where you can show a little bit of personality and he'll be able to show that. Like it's kind of that simple for me. Like we're going to pay him 15, 20 million. He'll go talk about football in LA where it's warm. Him and his wife will be out there. It'll be a good time for both of them. They want it to be nowhere cold. It'll be good.
well, I guess the question is, do you think he ever coaches again? 19
Oh yeah,
years is a long time to coach. I
yeah,
mean, because I think there was like the thought, like when Cowher left, right, that he would eventually come back. He's going to come back and coach one day. He's only in his 50s or whatever. And he didn't, he ended up just kind of staying with, I think CBS. That's what he's been his entire, media broadcasting career. And he didn't do it. So, um, whereas like Harbaugh, clearly, Harbaugh and Harbaugh family, like they're coaching lifers. He went right from Baltimore and went straight to the Giants. Didn't take a break. Didn't take any time off. Went straight to that situation. So, I don't know. Maybe Tomlin might have found another career. And maybe he doesn't come back. 19, 19 years to do anything is a long time, especially in today's day and age.
yeah,
It's not like transit, you know what I mean, or working at the post office and you just stay there for 35 years of your life and you retire and you're 77.
yeah.
This is 19 years in the NFL is probably equivalent to 30 years of transit.
Yeah, and who knows how long he's been getting up at 5 a.m. to get to the facility at like 6 a.m. And now he just gets to stroll into work like an hour ahead of time. He can watch a package of games, which he's going to do anyway. And they're going to pay him roughly the same as what he was making, which apparently he was making like 15 million or 16 million, which,
Yeah,
hey, someone's going to give him that much to talk about it. Shit, he might be able to
I mean,
replace Tony.
yeah,
Tony's going to quit.
yeah. I mean, a true opportunity to kind of have a real
Yeah.
regular life that's still football related, football adjacent, but just not, uh, crazy. Not as crazy as coaching. Um,
I think he also knew it was time to go. He was like, they'll
yeah,
let me stick around, but like, if I leave now, I leave on a high note. I won the division. I gave them the best opportunity. I maximized what I could with Rodgers. We did what we could do.
yeah, I think so too. I
Yeah.
think this was, I think this was always the plan. Right?
And now the
You
Steelers
know,
can see what it's like after they fire their best coach ever, or one of them. And,
yeah.
it could be the Dolphins after Shula, man. Like, it might be all bad after this. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it could be because here's the thing. They went all in on this one season run with
Yeah.
Rodgers and all these guys. This older defense, older really expensive defense, and not much else in terms of, especially in the offensive side of football, in terms of like youth and development across the major components of the roster. So now stepping into this situation, that's why it was interesting um, when we were evaluating last week, we evaluated the 8 slots that were available. And at the time, Pittsburgh was still in the playoffs, so they didn't have availability. But where do you think you would have ranked picks? Because since Tomlin left,
Pittsburgh
there's been a
become,
lot of
yeah.
conversation. As I was saying, since Tomlin left, there's been a lot of conversation about where this job ranks. And most people, like I think you had the Ravens one last
Oh,
week.
I had the Ravens
Yeah.
dead last because of the expectations.
Okay, you had the Ravens last week. Okay, so a lot of people have the Ravens one for the adverse of what you're saying.
Okay.
But where would you put Pittsburgh now amongst that grouping?
The Giants,
Taking the Giants out,
yeah, the
obviously, because
Giants are
Harbaugh's
gone,
there.
so then now that we go back to 8, but
Yeah.
best job because it's the most job secured.
Is it though?
They've had 3 coaches since the moon landing happened. I'm not
I
making this
get
up. Like,
I get that.
they've given him over a decade, and they've all gotten to win a Super Bowl. And it took Bill Cowher a while to win that Super Bowl. And he didn't always have a winning season. Like, they gave that man time to figure it out.
I get that, but I think a couple things. So just hear me out about this, right? Chuck Noll, I don't think you count that, right? It's a different era, a different time. You kept your coaches forever, right? Bill Cowher, conceptually same thing. This is a guy who was, he came in during a time he became the head coach of the Steelers in 1992. So he comes in after a few years being defensive backs coach, special teams coach, defensive coordinator around, and then he joins in the 90s. We're now in a space where coaching changes. Where expectations are like the league itself is all built around free agency and the trade market and all that stuff. More trades happen than that we're accustomed to seeing. Free agency, cycle goes crazy. And there's so much emphasis placed on the quarterback position. So much emphasis placed on what you have at the quarterback position. I think it's now the hardest job in the coaching sphere. The hardest job is being an NFL head coach, because the expectation is if you do have a quarterback, you're expected to, if you have a quarterback, you have one of those ones, you're expected to compete every year and potentially win and potentially win. And if you don't have a quarterback, the realistic expectation is that you probably shouldn't be winning anything. And still the expectation of the organization is that you can still compete, because the league is set up to be so topsy-turvy and so amenable to the worst of first scenarios, to all of those things. So when I look at it from that standpoint, I say to myself, in this day and age, will the Pittsburgh Steelers still operate the same way, where they'll give a head coach coming in the leverage and the leash to really, build his roster, find his quarterback, and build the team? Or do they kind of, mold organizationally to the types of organizations that we see in today's day and age with pretty much every other NFL team? Excuse me, where the expectation is, if we get a quarterback, we expect you to win, and if we don't have a quarterback, we still expect you to compete.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're out of here, and we got to the cycle. So I don't think that it's a myth that they keep coaches. I think that's a real thing. But I think we're now stepping into they're now stepping into a coaching search in a different NFL than it was when Chuck Noll left and they got Cowher, when Cowher left and they got Tomlin.
They hired him in
this is a
07,
completely
right?
different,
They hired him in 07.
Yeah.
Okay.
06, 07, yeah.
It's not that much.
So it's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
It's not, the NFL in 2006 was a very different league than it is today.
Yeah.
And you could, but I'm just not even the style of play. I mean, the style of play, absolutely. But back then it was about franchises. Now it's about quarterbacks. Now this is a league of quarterbacks. This is a league of, if you got a quarterback, you should be, if you're one of those guys, if you're a good coach,
mm-hmm.
and you have a guy who everybody believes is the franchise quarterback, your expectation, because of what came before you. Look at the Bears, like your Bears right now, right? They got the quarterback, they got the coach, immediately they're competing. Right? You look at Philly, right? They got the quarterback in Jalen Hurts, The coach came along immediately. They're competitive. They're in the mix. Right. So it's the thing becomes so now it's not like it was before. It's not about being a part of the Steelers. It's about like, hey, we expect something from you. You come in this door.
Yeah.
You don't have a quarterback today, but if we get that guy,
Oh yeah.
and you're not winning,
Yes.
like
Well,
we're gonna make a move, and you ain't gonna see 19 years, buddy. You ain't gonna see 7.
yes. But to that point, Malik, I think it's not a guarantee that the next person that they hire is going to be there for a couple decades, but like they're trying to find that person.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be harder now because there's also 7 other jobs that are available. And you ain't got no quarterback. But Pittsburgh offers stability, and this man worked his way up to making $16 million a year to coach, which is a lot of money. But also, it's Pittsburgh, so it's not exactly a metropolis and super warm and all the other stuff, but it's got some things going for it.
Yeah.
But you got a good defense. The defense is a little old, but as they keep drafting defensive linemen, so that your defense isn't going to be terrible. So we'll see how much Tomlin is worth in terms of a head coach, because I don't think they're going to win 10 games next year.
No.
And we also don't know who their quarterback is going to be next year.
Well, that was a good question. Who do you think their quarterback should be? I think there's been conversation about like, move up and draft because they got like 5 picks in the first few rounds this season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you draft the guy? Do you pick up a young guy? Do you go the veteran?
I think a realistic option is Carson Beck in terms of a draft pick.
Okay.
Because they could draft him in the middle to the late first round or even the top of the second. And he's 23. And as you've shown with Miami, you give this guy some people to throw to and some, playmakers, and he will make the play. And clearly his arm has healed and he's able to make the throws deep down the field. Outside of that, there isn't exactly like a bunch of QBs that are just kind of there. Maybe there's another Roethlisberger that we'll find. I'd never even heard of Tyler Shuck, and he appears to be the offensive rookie of the year.
So, yeah, I think
he's 24.
I think Beck is a good selection there because he's a professional quarterback. You know that this guy is he's been in college a long time. He's gonna pick up the system, whatever system you give him, he's gonna pick it up pretty well. He probably doesn't have the upside of a Mendoza, but he's definitely got a lower floor or a predictable floor for him.
He has a higher floor.
You're able to keep him,
and a better quarterback.
Yeah. So, okay, so that makes sense.
And realistically, of the free agents that are out there, I don't know if Brissett, who finished the season with Arizona, I could see them bringing him in as a bridge. I could see them literally bringing in Joe Flacco. But it all depends.
That would be funny because then he will have played for. Did he ever play for Cincinnati?
Yes, this season. Yeah, he does that.
Oh yeah, this season. So he will have played for every team in the AFC North. That's right.
Yeah. But also, Brissett, there's Flacco, and Kyler Murray has to go somewhere. And I still think that guy's a good quarterback. He should.
I just don't know if I want him playing in that weather, in those conditions.
What difference does it make?
I don't. He just doesn't. He doesn't strike me as a 40-degree or 20-degree weather, high wind type of guy who's just gonna, throw it through those types of situations. I don't know. He doesn't scream to me Steelers quarterback. Even though Cordell Stewart, I always say like Cordell Stewart wasn't but Cordell Stewart was definitely a tough guy.
Cordell Stewart's big too. He's just not like Ben Roethlisberger big.
Yeah, I think when I think of Pittsburgh quarterbacks, I think that the most highest memory I have is the Roethlisberger thing, and that's why I like any kind of quarterback that comes in there. If he doesn't resemble that, and it kind of just feels like that's not the guy. But
back in the day, they got to the Super Bowl with Neil O'Donnell.
Yes, they did, but that wasn't because of Neil O'Donnell. That's because they had an amazing defense.
That's kind of like Sam Darnold right now.
Yeah, but if Sam Darnold was the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, I could see that. Even though he's a Cali guy, I could see that because he's like a big, strong, stand in the pocket, take the hit type of guy. That's what he resembles. That's what he kind of looks. He
Well, then
looks
they
like.
should go get Geno Smith. He too will be available. There's options in terms of veterans if you just want to plug and play. Also, Rodgers may not decide he's not going to retire. We don't know. I think he
I'd be
should.
surprised if Rodgers does that.
I mean, at
I
least
think he can still play. I just don't think this is. I think he can still play. I don't think there's a situation out there for him like he walked into with the Steelers. So it would be tough for me to look at him and go, "Oh yeah, he should just go ahead and run it back and play another season."
I'm legitimately thinking like there's really not a team that he could go to and it would be great right away.
Right.
Not even. Well, would it work with him in Atlanta? Legitimately, could he go to Atlanta with those weapons, with Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London, and just crush it there and play for make another $20 million and just get some better offensive linemen, protect me, and then we can make this work.
Well, I'd say who's the coach, right? Because obviously they don't have a coach yet, they don't have a GM yet, so that would be important. Because here's the thing, from a talent perspective, what I saw with the guy, I don't think there's 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
No.
So I think he fits somewhere in that 20 to 32 range. I think he's not as good as half the league right now, but he's better than he's better than the last, that last group. Is he better than Michael Penix? He's probably better than Michael Penix, but I think I would rather roll with Michael Penix as the young quarterback than try to win 8 games with Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Because they won 8. Atlanta continually wins 8 games. That's what they do. They win 7, 8 games a year. They don't make the playoffs.
Took 9 this year to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
9 and 8.
So if I'm gonna make a play for a quarterback, I want to make a play for a guy where the ceiling is 12. The ceiling is division. We win the division and we're hosting a playoff game.
Gotcha.
To me, Aaron Rodgers is not good enough for that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not bad enough where, if he wants to play, there's no opportunity for him. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, Pittsburgh was the best option. I don't think next year Baltimore's going to be this bad. I think they're going to fix their defense. I think they're going to get a defensive head coach and keep the same OC. That is my prediction.
You think they keep Arthur Smith?
No. Did I say Pittsburgh or did I say Baltimore? I thought I said Baltimore.
I thought you said Pittsburgh, but you might have said Baltimore.
Arthur Smith is interviewing for head coaching jobs. I think Baltimore is interviewing defensive-minded head coaches. So I think that's the majority of the people that they've interviewed are, I want to say 3 or 4 people. So we'll see. I did like that owner who came in and was like, so if they'd have won that last game of the season and made the playoffs, would he have still been the coach? He said, for one more week.
That's, I laughed because I was cold. That's a real cold thing to say. We can't say that's how honest was it? How honest would it be? Because if they had kept winning.
But what if they didn't? What if they show up and the same thing that happened to the Steelers happened to them at home?
Would you? Okay, that's a good question. And maybe before we jump into the picks, if it had been Steelers Texans, I think the line that we were talking about that game was Texans -5. I think was the line. What do you think the line would have been? Houston and Baltimore.
Yeah.
And what do you think you would have made? What pick would you have made?
I would have taken. Man, that'd have been tough. If the Texans are getting 3.5, I'm taking the Texans because the only way that Baltimore wins that game is by a field goal.
Okay, so the Texans were -5.5 in Pittsburgh. They were not they were giving points.
They were giving points
to the Steelers, right?
And I still said take the Texans. That was my lock of the week,
right? And we both took the Texans, and you locked them in. I don't think I did a lock last week, but you locked them in. And so what I'm saying is, if the Texans had gone to Baltimore, I think the Texans would have been. I think they're getting points, right? I think they're getting points because I think the consensus is that Baltimore was better than them. And then you said you would have picked if you would have got 3.5, you would have picked them. So I think it would have been an interesting thing. I just don't know. I think in Baltimore, I mean, Baltimore might be the team heading to New England right now,
Mm,
and not Houston.
possible. Listen, with Lamar Jackson, you always have that possibility. I think he's very hurt this year, and I think
Hmm.
he's figuring out ways to win. Tyler Loop makes that kick. Maybe we're having a different conversation, but uh, listen, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson. There's a reason why he got drafted that high. They got a
Yeah.
real pass rush. They got a
Oh no,
front four
absolutely.
like the Giants in '07. They're going to get home, and you're going to have problems. Somebody's going to get
Absolutely.
open quick. And Zay
I
Flowers appears to be their only legit weapon. And also, they have Derek Stingley Jr. So that also helps because they got one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I hope Brad Holmes is watching. I hope Brad Holmes was watching that game. Uh, and this is no knock to the Lions and to him as a but I think the Houston and I even said this a year ago when we played Houston. I don't know if you remember this.
hmm.
The Lions played Houston on Monday night, or either Monday night or Sunday night in Houston. Jared Goff threw 5 picks in the game, and we came back and won the game. And
Well,
this is like during our run. But and during that game, I said that at that time, a year and a half ago, I said that's the fastest defense I've ever seen. Like the way they run to the ball, the way they pursue at every level, that was I was shocked that we won, and I was like super impressed by this team. Nothing's changed. And so when I say like I hope Brad Holmes is watching, I say that to say like this is how I think the Lions. This is how to me the Lions want to play. They want to play fast. They want to play bump and run. They want to play man, and they want to rush. And when you've got Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson and those guys rushing like that, and you got these linebackers who fly around and fill gaps and stuff, and you have the corners on the outsides who can just press man and play and be sticky, and then you got the safeties that can do just a little bit of everything. Like this is what that defense. This is what I think Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions defense want to be, and I think they believe they have it if they can just be healthy.
uh,
But
but I
I
don't
would
know if the
say,
linebackers are quick enough to do that.
well, that's what I'm saying. I would say watch this and then see what you can do to replicate. It's a copycat league.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into these games, man.
All right.
Saturday, January 17th, 4:30 p.m. CBS. I can do all of this now because there's only like 5 games to talk about. So it's like
No.
I can just 4 games to talk about. So I'm gonna talk about the broadcast. I might talk about the broadcast team if I can find it.
Oh, Sunday
Bills.
promo, right?
Yes, it's CBS. So yeah,
It's got to be
yeah,
there
because
to
it's
blaze
the only
good morning.
CBS game.
Allen.
Yeah, it's the only CBS game. So Bills at the Broncos. Bills are 12-5. Broncos 14-3 in Denver.
Mm.
The Broncos are getting a point. The over-under is 46. Bills are minus 105 on the money line. Broncos are minus 115. Broncos coming off of their bye for being the number 1 seed in the AFC. And the Bills are coming off of the victory in Jacksonville that we both called there. So, just a note before we jump into it. Last week, lock weekend, Ace went 4-2. I'm sorry, Ace went 3-3. His lock was Texans. He got that one. I went 4-2. The only game you and I differed on, I won, was Philly and San Francisco. I picked San Fran. You picked Philly. But otherwise, we were pretty much dead on with our picks. I did not have a lock. So, Bills Broncos, Bills -1. What are you thinking?
The way that James Cook got shut down by Jacksonville leads me to believe that Denver's better. They're traveling from the East Coast again to the West Coast. Mountain time in Denver, the elevation, all of that. And Denver's defense is rested. And, it does not look good for Buffalo. I am leaning towards Denver. And I'm leaning towards, I would say the under. I think this is going to be, because it's 46 is what I have it at MGM. And
Yeah.
Denver's getting
46.
1 point. Denver's -1. I think Denver's going to just win this straight up.
Denver's +1. Denver's getting a point.
Oh, not at MGM. At MGM, Denver's giving a point. But You're using the
Oh no,
fan.
no, 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 no. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at MGM.
Oh,
Denver's minus 1.5 on Sportsline. So,
oh, my bad. So yeah,
um,
I think Denver's going to win it. The problem is that I still, I don't know. I just do not trust Denver's receivers, but they appear to be a little bit better than Buffalo. But Keon Coleman stepped up last week, but unfortunately, I think they lost their best wide receiver for Buffalo, or at least the most consistent.
they're going into this game with 3 healthy wide receivers on the
Yeah,
roster.
but who got who? Someone broke
They
their
have
ankle, or Shakir, or who was it?
Gabe Davis
Gabe Davis. Thank you.
tore his ACL. They had 2 receivers tear their ACLs in that game.
Oh, I was
Gabe Davis and another gentleman. I can't remember his name.
damn.
So yeah, they're going in with 3 healthy receivers: Brandon
Dave.
Cooks, Keon Coleman, and Khalil Shakir. Who Khalil Shakir has been their best receiver for the vast majority of the season. So, and Gabe Davis, I believe Gabe Davis was a mid-season pickup when he got released from Jacksonville. So, the guys that they lost, yes, they're significant. You want to have healthy bodies, but the guys that they lost weren't necessarily they weren't Puka Nacua, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
weren't, tipping the scales in terms of the target share. All right, so you picked Denver. I kind of lean Buffalo here. And not for nothing, Ace. I'll
Yeah.
put it this way to you, man.
Hmm.
Just lean experience. Buffalo has been going through this situation for a very long time. Denver, I can't remember. Did Denver go to Buffalo last year when they made it to the playoffs and lose? Because I remember they did play in the first round. I can't remember where they went.
Hmm.
And they lost, but they lost that first game. They got smacked. I can't remember who beat them.
I
They
think it
won the
was
road.
no, it wasn't Kansas City because they had the 1 seed. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, anyway, as you looked at it, but I tend to lean towards the experience of a team like Buffalo coming into the situation and being able to, um,
Yep, they lost to the Bills, 31-7.
yeah, yeah, it was the Bills who
Damn.
beat them. Yeah, so they'll be looking for some payback. I think this is just going to be a hard fought, tough matchup. A lot of running from the Bills. I don't think the loss of those 2 receivers is going to be a major issue unless they lose other guys during the game, and then that could be a thing. But this might be a Josh Allen running a little bit more, more James Cook, running,
Yeah,
more James Cook situation, more to those tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name.
Austin Knox.
Yeah, Knox. So I think the offense should be okay. The defense in Buffalo is not great, but the offense of Denver is nothing to write home about. I mean, to me, they're just slightly better than what we've seen from the Texans. So I like Buffalo to be able to go in there, score some points, at least early, and keep it close. And I would take them on the money line. I think right now the money line is minus 105, minus 115. So it's not even like, it's not like you're plus money on either side of it. So
Yeah.
I'll just take the points. I'll take the experience and the points. So give me Buffalo and the over.
Josh Allen threw for 272 and 2 touchdowns in that game. And Cook had 120 rushing yards. I don't know how much that defense has improved. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Is Bo Nix that much better? Because they essentially have the same receivers. They have a better tight end, but overall the same receivers. And they have a better running back in R.J. Harvey.
Yeah. So interesting matchup. And Buffalo was number one. They were the number 1 rush offense in the league this year.
And McDermott
And the
is,
Broncos were the number 2 run defense.
and the Bills were the number 2 run offense.
Number 1 rush offense this year.
Is Josh Allen hurt? Is he playing through an injury? Because he went into that medical tent a couple times. Kept coming back.
He got banged up. I think he had a hand situation where like his hand hit a helmet. He definitely had that. And I remember on the very first drive of the game, I don't think he got sacked, but he definitely got hit, and he like hit his head on the ground, on the turf, and was writhing a little bit. And that's when he went to the tent.
The concussion, yes, concussion
but he
protocol.
played. Yeah, but he came back and he came back and he finished the game, and he is not
Right.
listed as being out. So, all right. Next up, 8 o'clock Saturday night, 49ers going to Seattle to play the number one seeded Seattle Seahawks. 49ers are 12-5.
Mm.
Going to Seattle at 14-3. Divisional matchup, divisional round. The Seahawks are -7 at home. The over-under is 45. The Seahawks are -325 on the money line, and the 49ers are +260. This game is on Fox on Saturday night. I'll go first here. I think the win against Philly last week was impressive, was interesting, but my belief is that it was more about Philly and what they were incapable of doing, and less about San Francisco and what they, what they their feats, the levels that they've got to. San Francisco's so beat up. They lost George Kittle, who, is for the season, torn ACL. They already don't have, a plethora of guys. McCaffrey is amazing. He does a little bit of everything. He's so impressive as a runner, as a receiver, everything. But because they don't have a lot on the outside, and because they don't have Kittle in the middle, my feeling is like this Seahawks defense is for real. And my feeling is that they will just key in on, and they know the 49ers, right? It's not like this is a team that they're not familiar with. They know the 49ers. They know They know what they're up against. So I think they are going to be a team that's going to be able to take advantage of Brock Purdy mistakes. And he made some mistakes in that game against Philly. It didn't wind up biting them. It didn't wind up beating them. I think it happens in this game. I don't like the number. I don't like this being a 7-point spread, because I do think that the ghost of Sam Darnold bad playoff games could rear its ugly head.
Yeah.
But I'll take it just because it's 7, and I'll take the number. I'll give the points. I'll go Seattle here, and I'm not going to lock it in though. But I'll go Seattle to get the cover, to get a victory in a hard-fought divisional matchup against a 49ers team that comes to play, but just runs out of steam and just doesn't have enough to take out of Seattle and get the win.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think San Francisco is going to cover because of how well these teams played each other that last week of the season. Didn't Seattle win that game 13-3?
13-3, yep.
Okay, so we just need one touchdown. And then San Francisco loses this game 13-10. 10-3.
I mean,
the under
San
might be
Francisco
a safe
needed that
bet
game too.
44.5, huh?
Yeah, and San Francisco needed that game. It wasn't like it was a game that San Francisco was trying not to win. They were trying to win that game to win the division and get the 1 seed.
And Fred Warner,
get the 2 seed, I think it was.
Fred Warner logged limited practice. Jacob Cowing had a full practice. He's one of their wide receivers that they're having to play. Trent Williams had a full practice. He looks a bit washed, but his hamstring is hurt. He's also 37 years old, which means that he was born in 1989.
Yeah,
for everybody out there, as y'all would call him, Unc. As crazy as that sounds, to us who are even older. But he's a 3-time All-Pro and a 12-time Pro Bowler, so he knows what to do. If he's out there, I legitimately give the offense a chance at being able to move the ball. And being as he practiced on Thursday in full, then he's probably going to have a full practice on Friday. If Fred Warner can legitimately get out there, being as he had a limited practice, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have a lot of faith in Sam Darnold, man. They know him so well, so they know how to mess him up. If you can hold him to 13, all we got to do is get to 14. That's it. And I say we like I'm cheering for San Francisco, but Brock Purdy's a better quarterback here. Mr. Irrelevant is, you got Juwan Jennings and you don't have a tight end. But you have a tight end, but you don't have George Kittle, who's one of the best blocking ones and receiving. So it's a toss-up, but I'm going to take San Francisco and I'm going to take those points.
The points are very enticing, in my opinion. I believe that. I agree with you there. The points are very enticing. Getting 7 points in a divisional game against a divisional opponent that knows you very well. The third time you're playing, these games, you expect this game to be close. My only concern is, like I said, those injuries. Eventually, they bite you. I think they will this time. All right. Sunday, 3:00, first game on ESPN. The Texans, 12-5, heading to New England to play against the Patriots. The Patriots are -3. The over-under is 40.5. Patriots are -175 on the money line. The Texans are +145. Both of these teams played last week. The Patriots won their matchup at home against the Chargers in a game that, from a rewatch perspective, never really felt like it was. I mean, yeah, Drake May didn't play great in the first half. Things were a little closer than maybe people expected, but it never really felt like New England was didn't have control of the game all the way through. And the Texans, while things were decidedly shaky for C.J. Stroud in that offense, the Texans defense absolutely played lights out, completely dominated things, and eventually took the game over at the end in Pittsburgh, winning in blowout fashion. The Texans are +3 here. Again, over under 40.5. Ace, what are you thinking?
I'm liking the Texans. I don't know if the weather is going to affect them. It is expected that it's going to snow Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be cold. I don't know if the Texans can play in the cold or if it affects them. They just went up to Pittsburgh and did that to them. Their quarterback didn't look great, but Drake May did. He handled it. He did a lot better than I thought he was going to do. But this is a much better defense. They have a much better pass rush. They just need C.J. Stroud and Willie Marks to be able to move the ball. Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson are playing really, really well for New England. They have two really good running backs. They got the rookie and they got the vet. And they're both making it work. And they can both catch out of the backfield. Like, their screen game is working real well. We will see if this is a game that New England can hold up in. The fact that DraftKings is giving Houston 3.5, I'm probably going to use that line as opposed to the other ones. But yeah, I like Houston at 3.5. So at 3, it might end up being a push, but I like Houston at 3.5. So if you can buy that half a point, do it. It's really the pass rush and the weather, because that weather's going to slow down both teams. And if Houston's defense, as you pointed out, is as fast as they are, they should be able to speed him up. And this is only his second year. And it's not even that I think that Stroud is a better quarterback. He has a little bit more experience, but I'm really just relying on the fact that Houston's defense is better than New England's. New England did show up last week, though. They shut down the Chargers. They made it look easy, too. They made it look easy. So give me Houston again.
Yeah, you're right on there. It's interesting here. So the Texans are 0-6 in the divisional round. They have not yet won a game in this round of the playoffs. This is as far as they've ever gotten as a franchise.
That's right.
You remember, they're not like, they came back to the Oilers and stuff like that. So, and so they're 0-6 in that. And there's a pretty good chance Nico Collins is not playing this week.
Yeah, he's
in a concussion protocol. Yeah, he's been in concussion protocol all week. They didn't want to rule him out, but based off of, if you watch that game on Monday night and watched him kind of go through, it was scary to me to watch him kind of go through some of the things that he went through. There, I'd be shocked, and I'd be shocked if he played. And so with him not playing, and that's taking another tool away, another weapon away, and probably C.J. Stroud's best weapon. I mean, Christian Kirk had the game of his life against Pittsburgh, and he could potentially do that again, because I agree with you. I don't think that New England, although I think New England's secondary is probably the strongest part of its defense, it's not. The combination of Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis are very good. They're good in name. They haven't been great in production and such thus far. And Gonzalez is coming off of a concussion protocol as well. He didn't play the game last week. So I say all that to say, I'd like the Patriots to win the game. I'd like the Houston Texans to cover the number. I think, to your point, I think this stays right at around 21, 21-20. 21-18 type of situation, and Houston either gets a push or covers a number. So yeah, if you can catch it at 3.5, I absolutely agree with you there. I think you should absolutely go for that. But I'll take Houston to keep it close, keep it within the number. I think there's a couple of CJ Stroud, potentially. If CJ Stroud doesn't turn the ball over, I think Houston can win this game out easily. I think this game can go very easily their way, and that would actually work in Houston's favor because the game would stay low, the score would stay low, would force New England to have to score against that defense. And to me, that's the most important thing. He cannot turn the football over in New England the way he did against Pittsburgh. That won't work. If he's not doing that, and he's not giving short fields to this New England team, I think the score stays low and it stays manageable, and Houston's able to cover, if not win outright. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm taking the Texans because I want those points for that defense.
And Diggs didn't exactly have a great game last week. He only had 2 catches on 5 targets for like 15 or something yards. He kind of messed me up on my prop bet because I thought he was going to go for like 40. They won that game 16-3. 16-3.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And the Chargers have no offensive line. Houston does. You know what? This actually makes me more confident in Houston. This is not good. This is genuinely not good for Pats fans but, people are optimistic. Maybe the weather will affect them. Maybe cold weather will affect a Houston team. That could really be a factor.
I think even though the 2 seed
as well.
Yeah. And even though they're the 2 seed, I think if you're in New England, you're playing against money.
Yeah.
You don't expect to be here.
Not necessarily.
As a fan. I mean, the team, they're going to win.
And if they manage to win, they could be hosting the AFC Championship game if the Bills win.
Exactly.
Which would be insane.
They don't want to play the Bills again. They don't want to play Josh Allen and dudes again. All right. Last but not least, that leaves us up to the game of the week. Look, this is the game of the week. This is the game of the week. I get it. San Francisco, Seattle. I wish that both teams were healthy. I would really love to see that game because it's just a rivalry between those 2 teams. But LA in Chicago, Sunday night football, playing against the Chicago Bears in that situation. Cold weather, frigid, freezing cold weather, 13 degrees predicted, 6:30 at night. Like, this is the game. I kind of wish this game was like a little later in the evening because Monday's Martin Luther King Day, so most people are going to be off from work. So I can actually stay up late and watch this game.
I know.
But it's going to be over like at a reasonable hour.
It'll be done at like 10.
Yeah, like 9, 10 o'clock. Come on. It'll be, it's running until late night. But anyway, the Bears are underdogs going into this game. They are 3.5 point underdogs on BetMGM. The over-under in this game is 48.5. The Rams are minus 200 on the money line. The Bears are plus 165. Same thing. Both these teams played last week.
Yeah.
The Bears won at home against the Green Bay Packers in interesting and, in another fourth quarter comeback fashion for this team. Cardiac Cubs, if you want to call them that. And the Rams played a surprising game against the Carolina Panthers. A game that everybody expected them to kind of just step in and blow out the team. Carolina played well, played hard for a long portion of it, and the Rams were able to eke that game out, in the fashion that we said. So it's 3.5 point favorite here. I'm 99% sure that I know which way you're leaning, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you, Ace, anyway. What's your pick?
Bears money line. You know why? Because if they had trouble covering the receivers for the Carolina Panthers when they were at home in a little bit of bad weather, what's going to happen when they got to go up to Chicago when it's always going to be 30 degrees? It's going to be, I think the high is like 7 that day. I'm not even joking. The high is
they said it's 13 and they said like it's going to feel like -2 or something like that.
You've been outside in 13-degree weather in New York when that polar vortex hits. Like, even in New York City, you don't get that cold. They don't even get that cold up here, really. It sits around like the 30s, 20s. Like, it's going to be 36 in New England. It's going to be 13 degrees outside in Chicago. The stadium is off of that lake, which is essentially an ocean. It's like playing in Buffalo. It's going to be freezing cold. So yes, I think Puka Nacua, who's used to playing in Los Angeles and is from Hawaii, it's gonna affect them just a bit. Maybe he'll talk to his teammate who has played in Chicago and Green Bay a bunch. He will be used to it. I forget his name, Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams.
He knows how to dress for the cold weather. He'll show him what to do. DJ Moore's nursing an injury. Rome Odunze's nursing an injury. They both made great catches last week. Caleb can throw in this. Stafford's playing with a finger injury. He's played in Chicago a bunch. He's had cold weather games there before. Maybe not this late in the year because I don't think they've never played Chicago in the playoffs. Detroit only made it once or twice with him. Once, yeah,
twice, and they never didn't play against.
And Chicago was never good. We were better than the Lions a little bit, but not much. We were usually finishing like 2-3 in the division or whatever, or 1-4 or something. But I think the biggest thing that's going to mess with Chicago is that TJ Edwards is out. He is not coming back.
Yep.
TJ Gardner-Johnson got a concussion. He may not play. DJ Moore has a knee injury. But yeah, TJ Edwards is on, I believe, the IR, so he is not coming back. And he is sadly needed. They still have their best pass rusher healthy. They still got Grady Jarrett in the middle. All their corners are back. Jalen Jones, Tariq Stevenson, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard. And Mr. Simone Biles is back there as our strong safety, as our free safety. So we'll see. But yeah, I legitimately think like the Bears can win this mainly because of the weather and the fact that I don't know if Kyron Williams is going to be able to run the ball on them. Because when Chicago did what they did to the Eagles and the Eagles defense, like what they say about the Rams defense is they're a little bit lighter so that they can be faster. People always say that playing in Chicago's grass is terrible because you cannot move quickly. Because it's natural grass, but like the ground is so cold, you cannot move quickly on that. So like, will that slow them down enough that the Bears can just grind this one out and beat them? Like, just do what they did to Philadelphia. If you're the bigger team in the NFL, as they love to keep saying with the Miami Hurricanes against Indiana, they have a 50-pound weight advantage on them. Mass kicks ass. So maybe that's what the Bears are going to do, and they're just going to run with Monungai and with So yeah, I'm taking the Bears. And also, DraftKings has them at 4.5, and FanDuel has them at 4.5. So I'm gonna take those 4.5 points even. Just on that.
I mean, the point.
Y'all barely beat Carolina.
The points is very interesting. I think the public and the money should be going on the Bears because of the points. I think that it's funny because with all the talk about Stafford and these guys not playing, in LA not playing, and in the cold weather. Caleb Williams doesn't strike me as a cold weather guy either. I mean, I know he played at USC, and I know he's from the East Coast. I think he's from the DC area.
Yeah, he's from DC.
Yeah, but he's not like this is. Nobody is good. Nobody is used to playing in this weather. No one gets used to this. I don't even care if you've played in it before.
Yeah.
Every single time you step out, and we, like you said, we've done this. Every time you step out in negative degree weather, it's a new experience. That's a new thing for you, right? So It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. I think everybody's going to be impacted on both sides of the ball. I think they got to play in the same elements as you. And so for that reason, what I think where I would go with this game, Ace, is before I give my pick, for me, I think the main thing is this is the game where Caleb Williams and that offense cannot be bad for long stretches of the game.
Yeah.
They have to be good or good enough and put points on the board, because if you get down 10 points in this game, even in the fourth quarter, with the weather being what it is, and with the way that, the Rams can and will love to just run the damn ball, and not play around with these boys. Like, they can figure out how to win. And Stafford's a Super Bowl champion, and they've got plenty of experiences, and they're just oiled machine when it comes to just playing winning football. Like, and they've got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and all those things. To me, that's when all those things and the talent of this team will really show out if they're able to play with a lead. So Chicago cannot put
And
themselves in a negative game script in this game. I think this game and the next game, like if they wind up making it, getting out of this game and going to Seattle, same thing. They cannot put
yeah,
themselves in negative game scripts against the Seattle defense in Seattle. Like that's just not going to work.
Hmm.
And so that's why I think the Bears cover.
Oh,
I think the Bears cover.
but we
I
lose.
think the Rams win just slightly. I like this 3.5. I love this hook. I think this is a great hook. I think this is a Rams cover 27-24 type of game, and the Bears get it on the hook. I'm going to take the Bears with the hook, especially if it's 4.5 anywhere, 4.5. Like, take that all day. I think points will be at a premium here. I think it'll be difficult for both of these teams to really mount a real offensive attack. But I'm still hedging on the thought that Williams is still a second-year quarterback. Sean McVay and these guys have done this before. They know that doing this gets them to go back to the West Coast where they're really comfortable. They'll either play San Francisco or Seattle, and they're perfectly fine. They'll be perfectly comfortable in that environment. So they just need to get it done here. And I think they lean on the running game. They lean on their offensive line. And they ask Matt Stafford to just make enough throws and to do enough things to control it. And if Caleb and that offense in Chicago makes any mistakes and puts the ball in Stafford's hands with short fields, that's going to be a problem. So I'll take the Rams to cover. I'm sorry, I'll take the Rams to win. I'll take the Bears to cover because I like the hook there.
The disrespect continues, but I get it. You don't want to be happy. You don't want to see me happy.
I took you guys last week against Green Bay.
Well,
I took you guys last week against Green Bay. Huh?
That's because you hate Green Bay as well.
Well, I absolutely can't stand Green Bay, but I took you guys to beat Green Bay. You know how much of a Matthew Stafford fan I am. I'm a huge fan of Stafford, so that's he's my Detroit guy, whatever. I love him. But this is not me picking Stafford. Like, this is not me Stafford love over the Bears. I believe
this Rams team lost to they had that crazy comeback against Seattle like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where Matt Stafford threw for 457 yards. They lost that game somehow.
This is what I said earlier when we started recording. Like none of these teams are like juggernaut. I can absolutely see each of these games being decided by one score.
That would be great. That would be a good weekend.
So if that happens, this is why I'm taking points. This is why the only game I'm really thinking about that I really have to be worried about is that Seattle game, just because of the injuries. But I think every other game in this slate will be a one-score game at the fourth quarter, and nobody would be surprised.
Pulls off a miracle and wins that game, that means the Bears would be able to host. But then that means if San Francisco and the Rams both win, who hosts?
The Niners.
Wow.
Because the Niners
wildcard teams would be in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. No. I'm sorry, the Rams, because the Niners are the 5 seed. The Rams are the 5 seed. The Niners are.
It'd be 5 and 6.
It would be 5-6. So then the Rams would be hosting. Yeah.
Same thing if the Bills and the Texans.
All right. So you have.
Wow.
All right, so there you have it, folks. You have our picks. Ace is taking the Broncos and the 49ers on the Saturday slate. I'm taking the Bills and the Seahawks. And Ace and I are both taking the Texans and the Bears to cover their number. Ace is actually taking the Texans to win. He's taking the Bears on the money line as well. I'm taking both of them with their respective point spreads, just believing that they could potentially lose, but lose by enough to cover the number. So, I mean, these are both great games. All right. We're good. We're done. We'll see what happens with coaching and NFC, AFC championship games next week. We'll be back for that. But before we do, any shout outs you wanna lay out there?
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Tomlin. From when he started coaching to when he was allowed to quit or left the job before they got rid of him. Shout out to him for knowing when to leave. 199 coaches have been hired and fired in the NFL. Head coaches. 199. That is insane. I just wanted to mention that stat. I thought that was really cool. I heard that somewhere else. I forgot where. But that was just insane that he was able to survive all of that. And the man never had a losing record. Hall of Fame coach. Hall of Fame. And shout out to my Bears for coming through again last week. It's the Bear Raid offense. That's what it is. The Bear Raid. We out here, baby. They got to come through us.
Absolutely.
And shout out to my
Absolutely.
Nets who are beating Golden State right now without their best player, Jalen Brunson.
Surprising, yeah. I'd say surprising because Jalen Brunson is not playing. They really played poorly against Sacramento last week.
Yeah.
No, sorry, yesterday. Last night after Brunson went down. They did not look prepared against Sacramento. Sacramento taking it to them. They're holding their own this game against. I can't stand this. This is like the worst part of this. Not the season for me, but I just don't like these West Coast swings. Those last 1 to 2 games of a West Coast swing just feel like a slog because first off, the games are late, so it's hard to watch them. But then also, it just feels like the team is just ready to leave, ready to get out of there and come home, and you just want them to get out of there with a respectable like 500 record coming out of there would be great.
Honestly.
Yeah. I'm with you on the Tomlin on the Tomlin shout out here. 19 years anywhere, like you said, 19 years as a head coach with all of the struggle. 19 years as a head coach is one thing. 19 years as a head coach and never having a losing season in your entire career with that team, with a single organization, that's super impressive, And it's something that we've just never seen before, and we may never see again, because that's just not something that guys don't last that long in the NFL. Number one, and number two, not having a losing season your entire coaching career. That might be one reason why I don't come back. If I'm Tomlin, like I ain't breaking that streak, I ain't breaking that record, or else I'm coming back, to a team that's like ready to win right away.
It would be funny
Shout
if
out.
they hired him in Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even he laughed at that.
Shout out to the San Francisco 49ers, man. Like I said, it was very impressive watching them go ahead and beat the Eagles. I happened to be watching that game with an Eagles fan, neighbor of mine. She's a huge Eagles fan. We were watching the game, and she was going in on Kevin Patullo. So the fact that like the next day he was fired, I hadn't gotten a chance to speak with her, but I'm gonna talk to her and just confirm with her and her husband that she was very happy that her day off too. That Kevin Patullo was out. So we'll see what happens there. Shout out to my Lions. Shout out to my Lions for hey, they seem to be doing their due diligence in searching for their replacement GM, for the replacement OC. They're doing the work that everybody was hoping that they would do. They've interviewed McDaniel. They're interviewing a few others. I heard they're interviewing Arthur Smith. I hope that's just a courtesy interview. Honestly, I hope he doesn't get the job. Personally, Lions fans do not want him here. But yeah, shout out to them for going through the search and figuring out where they got. And finally, last but not least, shout out to the New York Jets, not the Giants, because everybody's shitting on you guys for beating the Jets, and I feel bad. I feel bad for this organization just being completely, trashed on, and I feel bad for Aaron Glenn. I like Aaron Glenn as a coach. I think Aaron Glenn is a damn good coach, and I think he could be good there. But the black cloud that's hanging over that franchise, I just feel like they're the laughing stock. They're the butt of so many jokes in the in the NFL with NFL fans and all that stuff. And you know what? They're trying just as much as everybody else. And if they get themselves a quarterback, and find some consistency at that position, which they haven't had. I mean, God, since Mark Sanchez. Maybe they can find themselves, being competitive in this division and playing, meaningful games at the end of the season. So shout out to them. Get to work. Use those draft picks wisely. You got some extra picks for the Quentin Williams and the Sauce Gardner situation. Use those draft picks wisely. Get yourself back on track. And the Patriots showed you it's not that hard to bounce back if you get the right players and you make the right moves. So shout out to you guys.
Shout out to Ant. Hope you get a chance to listen to this, and shout out to LaVon. Yeah, I don't know why they're crapping on them. It's not like, the Tennessee Titans have had amazing quarterbacks. Cam Ward appears to be good, but guess what? They had the number 1 overall pick for a reason. The Las Vegas Raiders haven't found a quarterback in years. I can't remember the last time they drafted a good one. Like, Derek Carr was the best one they got. He took them to the playoffs, lost, and they got him up out of there.
Yeah.
He got run off.
There's a lot of franchises. Cleveland Browns, right? Like, there's a lot of franchises that have not been good for a very long time.
The Cardinals
just get trashed on. Yeah. And the Justice get trashed on every week. Everybody's like, oh, nobody would like because I'm really talking about because of the whole what's the name from quarterback from Oregon,
Dante Moore.
Dante Moore deciding to go back to school.
It's more
because he was the consensus number 2 pick, and he didn't want to go. And the thought is that he didn't want to go play for the Jets.
He's only had 15 starts, so he wants to get more experience actually playing real football. Because he redshirt, he never redshirted. I believe he may have last year, so that's why he had the extra year of eligibility. But like he started 4 games. No, he redshirted his freshman year because he only played 4 games his first year at UCLA. He went out there with Chip Kelly. It did not look good as a true freshman. Then he went and sat in Oregon, and now he's playing, and now he's going to play again. And starting for 2 years is a lot better than only starting for 1 because you could be Mitch Trubisky, man. Like, just because you're going to get drafted high doesn't mean it's going to work out well for you. And people kept saying Chicago destroys quarterbacks until we got a coach that knew how to do it, and now we have a quarterback. So I'm just saying, you want to blame the organization. All of a sudden, we figured it out. We've never had a guy throw for this many yards ever in the season. So I'm just saying, 3,900. It's not 4,000, but hey, we're in the divisional round. We hosting the game. That could be you.
Plus, it's 2026. Dante Moore's going to make like $5 million in salary. Yeah. So he doesn't need to come to the NFL to get paid. He's getting paid in Oregon perfectly fine. So, taking an extra year in school and, potentially win a national championship and make a cool couple million in the process and have to like learn a new playbook and, like go play in the NFL.
And you know what the Jets get to do? They get to draft Reuben Bain Jr. They get to draft the best defensive end available out of the U who's going to be a superstar. They get to draft him and replace Quentin Williams in that pass rush that they lost. Yeah. So it could be worse. It could be worse. Legitimate.
Guys like Dante Moore, the NFL can wait.
And then just trade for Kyler Murray, man. Just ride it out with him. How bad could it be? He's better than the last 2 dudes you had.
Now that's a guy. That's a player that I could get. I could see them going for in the situation.
The 3rd round pick over there to be like, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Reclamation project.
Yeah.
All right.
On that note, we out.
Peace.